Hi, my name is Chef Ming and welcome to my MasterChef Masterclass. Today we're going to be cooking a bunch of things that I find really fun to put together. We're going to be making a crispy rice dish together with butter chicken and pairing that with some fresh pickles. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to start with is the rice. I'm using just normal jasmine rice here, my water, my coconut milk. Because my rice cooking bowl is a non-stick bowl, I'm not going to use a spoon or a pair of tongs to scratch the inside. So always take note to use something that doesn't scratch when you're mixing this in. Okay, the final component I'm going to put in is a little bit of salt, 3/4 teaspoon here. Give that a brief mix. Right, and this bad boy goes into the rice cooker. Let's go. After I cook the rice in the rice cooker, I'm going to take this out and I'm going to fry it in a heavy bottom frying pan. And what I mean by a heavy bottom frying pan is something that sounds like this. Thick pans with heavy bottoms tend to retain heat and pass the heat to the food that you're cooking in a gentle fashion. What this does is it enables you to brown and make things nice and golden without burning them. On to our chicken. We're gonna marinate this right now and it's gonna need at least 30 minutes of marination. If you can give it 4 or 5 hours in the fridge, even better. I'm gonna begin with a tablespoon of butter. I'm just gonna warm this up and melt it. This is gonna go into the marinade as well. Chicken into the mixing bowl. So yogurt first, you can use between 1/2 and 3/4 cup. This is just plain yogurt. Yogurt helps the chicken tenderize because it's got a little bit of acidity and it helps to channel and push flavor from that dairy component into the chicken. I'm gonna put in about 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. Turmeric powder, I've got a whole teaspoon of this. Now I'm going with a paste of ginger and garlic instead of minced and chopped ginger and garlic because this imparts and forces in more flavor and I want that kick, that note. So I've got about a teaspoon of this as well as a teaspoon of my ginger. And finally, I've got my garam masala as well. So I'm gonna put a good teaspoon of this inside there. I'm gonna make sure I have a teaspoon of salt as well. Right, I'm gonna give this a quick mix about in this bowl. And before it's fully mixed, I've got this melted butter here that I'm gonna pour in as well. We've marinated our butter chicken already, and now we're making the sauce. So we start with a medium-sized heavy bottom pan. Get that to medium heat, and we're gonna start with sauteing off some of our ingredients. I've got 5 tablespoons of butter here. And as that cooks down, I want to get this a little bit foamy, so it's sauteing. Right, butter's melted. I'm gonna go with a nice, generous teaspoon of both garlic and ginger paste. The next items I'm gonna add to this pan, a good teaspoon of my chili powder, a good teaspoon of paprika powder, as well as a good teaspoon of turmeric powder. Mix to ensure you don't have any lumps in the pan. The butter fat has immediately taken on this lovely red deep color from the paprika as well as the chili powder. Now, how long do you need to toast this off inside the butter? I would say maybe about 3 or 4 minutes at medium heat. You're trying to pull out as much flavor as possible and awaken all those aromatic oils. Next things to add, a little bit of garam masala. Once you're sure that all your aromatics have released their oils as you're toasting this in the butter, that's when you start adding your tomato puree. The reason why you add your aromatics and toast them off in the butter before this, guys, there's a lot of water content in this. The minute you put it in, it stops toasting. Now I'm just gonna simmer this down and release some of that water content from the tomatoes, concentrate the flavors a little bit, and then I'll come back to this and I'll season it with a final couple of things. All right, now for a taste test. I'm liking these flavors. There's a good amount of kick from the chili powder as well as the paprika powder. It really adds a lot of depth. This sauce only needs to simmer for about 3 or 4 minutes at this point. After I've added all the rest of my ingredients together, I can cook that down for maybe just another 3 or 4 minutes as well. The next item I'm gonna add is my cashew nut butter. I love cashew nut butter, so I'm gonna add maybe a good tablespoon or 2 of this. Cashew nut butter really helps to add this creaminess and this richness. And if you've got a little bit too much spice going, this helps you to tone the spice down as well. Now, if you're allergic to nuts and you don't want to use cashew nut butter, you can use something like pureed chickpeas or pureed beans. The next thing to add is a little bit of honey. I've got 2 tablespoons of honey here. This is gonna add much needed roundness and depth in the mouth. I'm gonna season my sauce at this point now that I've added a sweet component, a little bit of salt. Right, this is fenugreek leaf, a crucial component in butter chicken. You gotta have this. I'm gonna add 2 generous pinches of this. And finally, the last component of my butter chicken sauce is some of the leftover marinade from my chicken. Now, if you've made a large batch of marinade and you don't need so much, the chicken is nicely coated, the remainder of the marinade can go into the pan as well. It's not meant to be a dipping sauce, this has raw chicken in it, so you must cook it off. My rice is done now, and I wish you guys could see this. It smells phenomenal as well. That coconut milk has really gone in and gotten nice and aromatic. A little bit of coconut oil, and on medium heat, you start to take your rice out and press it into the pan. I'm pressing the rice into the pan to try and get it to stick together in a nice disc. I'm not trying to mush it up. My key component here is a golden brown crust below. Right, as that cooks off on medium heat, time to grill off my chicken. I've got my grill pan on high heat right now. I'm going to oil that. As soon as you see a little bit of smoke coming off your pan, that's when you know your pan is screaming hot. This is when you know you can start to grill your butter chicken. So pieces of chicken in. Hear that nice sear. Smell that. All that garlic, all that turmeric, all that ginger. That curious note now that you're getting, this is the result of yogurt. So that's that nice sort of creamy scent that you get. Once you've picked up a nice char there, give it a bit of a flip. Right, my rice is crisping up in the pan. My chicken's almost done. Now I need to just add that into the sauce. My final component is a very, very quick cucumber and red onion pickle, and I'll show you how to do that in just a matter of minutes, okay? First things first, we're gonna use a Japanese cucumber. Take off the tips. I'm gonna quarter this real quick, remove the seeds. You can do that by just zipping the knife across, like so. Okay, give my chicken a quick flip. Grill and char, my beauties. Soon you will be sitting in a butter chicken sauce, and that char will add a nice smokiness to the sauce. I'm just gonna cut this into thin strips like that. You can pickle all sorts of things, carrots, radish, other sorts of fresh vegetables. Next item for my pickle, I'm just gonna use some nice red onions. Cut these in half, peel them. So I'm cutting them into nice thin slices. You can use a mandolin for this. Into the bowl we go. Time to make my pickling liquid. Now this is exceedingly quick, right? You're using water, a little bit of vinegar. This can be white vinegar, it can be apple cider vinegar, it really doesn't matter. But don't use balsamic. A little bit of sugar. And a pinch of salt. Bring it to a quick boil and then dump this over the items you want to pickle. A bowl of chopped onion and cucumber. And they will pick up quite amount of flavor in just 10-15 minutes. That's it. Now you just let that sit for a couple of minutes and then you can pull that out. All right, chicken looks about done. Just gonna take this off. All these nice charred bits of skin here. Don't miss that out. Medium heat, chicken goes in. I'm just going to check on the color of the rice just to make sure I've got everything there. And this has been cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes on a medium heat, right? And if I can shake it around and it moves around in a piece like that, I'm just about there. Just gonna check the edges. Yeah, that looks about right to me. Flat plate over your frying pan. Okay, we're gonna do a nice flip. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Fanju. Now comes the butter chicken. But before we do that, we have one more ingredient, just a little bit of cream to lighten this and go through. Loosens it up just a little bit. Butter chicken. just all over the side of this UFO disc thing. My pickles are done. This is where I pulled them out of the pickling liquid. They've been sitting in this. It was hot and simmering before I poured it over the vegetables. 10-15 minutes, right? I like a little bit of Italian parsley leaf on my pickles. Next, spring onions all around my crispy rice and my butter chicken. And the final item, making it rain with a little bit of sesame seed. There you have it. We've got a crispy rice UFO with the flavors of coconut, as well as a rich, delicious butter chicken dish, together with some fresh pickles that add some crunch and lightness. Be sure to catch MasterChef Singapore Season 3 on Channel 5 and Me Watch. I'm gonna have my lunch now. Bye.